Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath, the podcast that explores the movies that influenced how we view love and romantic relationships. Yes, there will be spoilers. I'm your host, Diana Roderick-Sconard. You cannot leave everything to fate, boy. She's got a lot to do. Sometimes you must give her a hand. We're talking about Ever After, a Cinderella Story from 1998, and I'm here with Justine to talk about a Cinderella Story. Hi!
Hi, because it's Happily Ever Aftermath.
It seemed a little bit too on the nose, but at the same time, I got a request for this movie. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? I've heard a lot of positivity about this movie. I have seen it. Before the podcast, I have seen it. Obviously, if I'm recording right now, I have seen it.
I hope you've seen it.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But Justine, thank you so much for being the person that I can talk to about it, who, you lit up when I even mentioned it. And I'm like, oh, okay. How do you feel about coming on here with me? And this recording right now is a result of that conversation. Hooray!
Yay! Hooray!
So small shout out to Nicole, who had sent me a message on Instagram that I have seen, but did not necessarily act upon until now. So I appreciate the patience as well. But let's get going. Justine, tell me about you and this movie.
Oh my gosh. This is one of those where I don't know.
Oh my.
I will say, and I should have listened back to a previous podcast episode I've done on this movie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered it on the Cutaways, but that was probably like 3 years ago, and like...
Time.
Yeah. Who knows what time is? So maybe if I had listened to that, I would have talked about like how I came up. Anywho, since it's 1998 and I was roughly in middle school, I want to say this was maybe probably like a blockbuster movie to me. Like, I don't think I was like the target demographic for it, but also like I may have been, I don't know. You know, there was like the Titanic, so... It's definitely into like possible lovey movies. And I know we just talked about Practical Magic. That was around this time.
Yes.
But I cannot, I'm sorry, pinpoint like the first time I saw this movie, but it has just kind of existed in my life. So I want to say that I'm going to say likely that like my sister probably got it from Blockbuster when she was babysitting me, as she often did Fridays when my parents went out partying.
And then
I fell in love with the movie because it's great. What's not to love?
I agree. Okay, let's remember how I do my podcast. Ever After is a Cinderella tale. It's right in the titles. But at the same time, though, we've actually done Cinderella before. The other...
Which one?
90s. Oh, the one with Brandy and
okay,
Whitney Houston?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And yeah, exactly. So the thing is, like, the Cinderella story, it's been told. And I love that this particular movie runs with that in its premise. But the idea of, like, the Cinderella tale, the Disney version, and then the other Disney version, and then this version. It's in the public domain. It's in the Grimm's fairy tale, so people can run with it, and that's kind of cool. But one of the things I was thinking about for this particular one is okay. Pull back, Diana. Pull back.
Align your thoughts.
That we don't have enough time for that. I'm just going to start reading. From Rotten Tomatoes, this updated adaptation of the classic fairy tale tells the story of Danielle, Drew Barrymore, a vibrant young woman who is forced into servitude after the death of her father. All right, Cinderella. And the rest of it is like her, you got her stepmother, heartless. And then her Danielle's life takes a wonderful turn when she meets the charming Prince Henry, Dougray Scott, which, he has a name, so that's a good start from the Disney one that I'm very, very familiar with. I have a niece she's 13 years younger than me. So when she came by when she was like 3 to 5, it was just Cinderella, Disney Cinderella, Disney Cinderella. So I'm just like, okay, no Cinderella for me. For many years. And when you said you can't pinpoint when you first saw it, I'm actually wondering, did I make up a memory of seeing this movie?
Ooh, retcon.
And I know, right? And it's always possible, but in my heart of hearts, I have a memory of watching this in my friend Alexis's home because she enjoyed the movie, and it may have been high school, it may have been college, and it's like, but is it because I know the Cinderella story so much? Maybe, but I'll tell you recently that this movie has become a watching clips on YouTube comfort watch over the last couple of years. So I know scenes very, very well, but watching this movie from beginning to end, this is true, Diana.
Oh, wow.
It's like, I have a lot to discover. So I sat down and I watched this for the podcast, and I'm just like, and watch, Diana. Enjoy the marvel of things that feel like a Cinderella story, but they decided to make it their own. Go. And then I did. And it was very enjoyable. It was so great and fun. And, you know, we've got Drew Barrymore, and she does a really good job. And now, granted, this is meant to be France.
Yep.
And all English speaking, you know, this is
various
Prince Henry.
Accents.
And you know what? I'm fine with it. I mean, apologies to historical scholars who watched this and became very upset. And also purists who were upset that there were no like magical pumpkins. So that's okay. But there's a framing device about a descendant of Cinderella telling the Brothers Grimm that, you know, I need to tell you what this actually is happening. And so it flashes back. Okay, I'm going to start rambling now a little bit more. Leonardo da Vinci is the godmother.
Hell yeah.
And that's a plot point right there. So there's the second apology to all the historical scholars. But I'm going to step back for a second. You said you enjoyed it. Tell me more.
I mean, I feel like I really have loved Drew Barrymore since I was a kid. One of my, you know, favorite movies is E.T. And, you know, she's in that. And I mean, I don't want to be like, as children, her and I like looked a lot alike. Because, I mean, because a lot of babies look alike, you know. But something in my brain like identified with that too. But I just really like her. I really like her essence. And I still do to this day. Like, I watch clips from her talk show on YouTube all the time.
Oh, okay. So this is a different kind of connection, which I love that so much. Did you get attached to any other Drew Barrymore movies too?
Never Been Kissed.
Aha. Yes. That's a popular one as well.
Yes. I don't know. I can't think on the top of my head.
I think I have appreciation for the fact that the Cinderella story is, you know, from the fairy tale point of view. I don't know what the actual like moral of it, but for me it was always like, well, even if you're being treated like crap, do right by people and you will get your just rewards.
Wait, I think I wrote down a moral.
Oh, goody.
The moral. Okay, I remember you wrote the moral is everyone is fucking miserable, so be with the one you love.
Oh, nice. Oh, that is that. Yeah, that's a good one.
At least that's the moral of it I got out today, just knowing that I would like have to think about it and then like come on to here to talk about it.
Oh, no, that's right on point there. I mean, if you look at the people who are on there, yeah. It just, dang it. I'm running through the story in my head and I'm just like, hey, remember when like her stepsister was wearing the horse costume? Yeah.
Melanie Lynskey is so
Yes.
great. Oh.
Yes, and I think that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna back up a step again.
Sorry, I remembered another Drew Barrymore movie that I love. Riding in Cars with Boys.
Oh, okay, tell me more about that one.
She becomes pregnant as a teen.
Uh-huh.
And it's a I was gonna say it's a fun watch. It's not really a fun watch, but I mean, like, it's a interesting watch, really, based off of, like, her adult son and, like, her, you know, not that much, you know, older than him, and then this sort of recounting their life as she's putting together, like, the book of their life, you know? And it's a lot of, like, oh, I want to live my life. Well, you can't because you have to take care of me, and sort of she's a bit selfish in the movie, sort of. But I mean, like, she had to be a teen mom in it. It's not as, like, dark as it sounds because it's a Drew Barrymore movie, but
sure. Oh man. Okay, so what was the name of that one again?
Riding in Cars with Boys.
Okay, because I was thinking, is that like Boys on the Side? Wasn't Drew Barrymore in that one too? Am I mixing them up in my head? And the answer is maybe.
She might have been. She was in a bunch of movies.
So I remember that one, and like Home Fries when she was in a movie with Luke Wilson. See, that one was darker than I thought it would be.
Well, she did like her streak of dark movies. But then I think, like, her post-rehab was all happy movie. Maybe.
And I think that's what I was thinking about earlier, about how, you know, Cinderella, it's kind of a, you know, do right by and then you will get good things. I really appreciate that child actress went through some really difficult times, and now here she is, very successful, and is actually trying to do, you know, good with her success as well. So it's like, I'm rooting for you in all realms. So watching this movie from 1998 where it's just like, yay, go get your prince, even though it's kind of awkward for you, even though you just wanted to have the house to yourself, and who can't identify with that?
Yeah. She's a hard worker. Hard work in Cinderella. That's why, like, it's like one of those feminist movies before, like, every movie was turned into, like, the feminist version. Like, they're doing that now with the live action Disney movies.
Right. And what's funny is that, like, they're missing the point of the feminist movie in the versions now, because it's like, hey, I mean, honestly, I'm stealing a lot of this from YouTube or Lindsay Ellis, but it's like, hey, you know, all those things that we did in these movies, and like Beauty and the Beast, and she didn't have Stockholm Syndrome. Instead, she's just this person now, but they kind of miss the point of certain things. So now it's just, wait, why did you do that? Or you just, I don't understand. Whereas I like this version of it because, I mean, spoiler alert, twice now, she rescues the prince twice. And those are the ones I can count. If there are other parts where I just missed entirely because I was too busy just kind of giggling through the movie, feel free to enlighten me. But,
well, the first time, as he says it, she saved his life.
Oh, okay, maybe 3 times then.
He goes, you saved my life.
Well, I was thinking about when they were being robbed, and then she lifted him and took him out of the woods.
Yeah, they were going to kill him.
Yeah, pretty much that version of it. But you're right. He, you know, she gives him direction. She challenges him. And that comes up a lot when you're coming from a place of power. Whether you intend to or not, you're going to be surrounded by, you know, yes men. And they're going to give you what you want. And then it's just like, wait a minute. That's not going to do very good. Although his parents didn't say yes to everything, so that's something.
What he is attracted to in her is her passion.
Yes.
He's not surrounded by people who have a lot of passion.
Right. He's surrounded by people who have to fulfill their duty. And I have a sympathy to that as well. And I appreciate that there's a part where the queen says to her son, you know, you have an obligation to fulfill. She said it a lot more eloquently, and there was more to it, but verbatim, that is what Danielle said to him later on, and it just kind of blew his brain and actually made him go quiet for a minute, which is pretty good in their conversation, considering they're constantly verbally sparring.
Yeah.
Is there any particular scene that just, you know?
Well, as you mentioned it, the part where she picks him up is everybody's favorite scene.
It's I was reading in trivia that may have been based on a real life kind of like war battle ending situation where because we all know IMDb trivia is so accurate.
Yeah. It's almost like anybody can put it on there.
Yeah, and ultimately it's just like, okay, we have claimed this area. You can leave with whatever you can carry on your shoulders. And then the women kept taking all their men out with them. I want to verify that. But for now, let's just gonna call it real because it's awesome.
I have a couple like favorite lines and moments.
Tell me.
Some parts that just like always get me, and like no matter how many times I watch it, which it's so funny. I did watch this movie like recently before you were like, hey, let's watch it for the podcast. But then I just watched it again today. Because I was like, why not? even though I've like got it memorized. But parts that like always get me are one where he says like, today I am simply Henry. And I'm like, oh. And then the part at the end, not the end, but when she goes to visit him in the ruins, and after he kisses her and she just starts crying in pain. It's a secret pain. Like, will bring tears to my eyes every time I see it.
Yeah. I had a really tough time with that scene. She's crying. And you would think that would be enough for me, but all I could think of the whole time, and this was me getting really, really angry at Henry, was, dude, she's crying. Stop interrupting her. She's trying to tell you something. But of course, then again, there wouldn't be a big dramatic moment at the end. And as a screenwriter, I get it. As a person who really, really values communication in a relationship, stop talking.
Yeah, he's a prince. He's used to people being emotional around him like that, because women are so emotional. B, I also think possibly he was also very nervous / excited and just needed to get it all out. Like,
okay, I'm back on board with that scene again. Considering how much my brain has been filled lately, and I gotta talk, I sympathize. Yeah, all that young energy, and I cannot wait to share all of this with you. Alrighty. Congratulations, Dougray Scott. You're back on.
Yay,
you're back on point.
You did it.
I mean, it's a good reminder too, because if you go to the revelation scene where she's trying so hard to tell him, she doesn't get to. She goes to the ball. She looks gorgeous. Her evil stepmother is able to come in and just okay. Small confession. I paused it before the ball because I knew it was going to happen, and I knew she was going to get humiliated, not by just her stepmother, but by Henry as well. And I was not in an emotional place to watch it. So I had to walk away and brace myself. And this just shows you how like emotionally like vulnerable I've been lately, where it's just like, okay, I know this movie has a happy ending, but right now I need to take a walk. I need to get some air. I need to remind myself.
I think it's also because like Drew Barrymore does such a great job of like living the character that you're just like, no.
So much pain, and it's like they're young. And I still don't think I don't have the cynicism of just, oh, you're young, you have your whole life ahead of you, don't give yourself so quickly. I'm like, oh, but right, you're young, your emotions are just kind of, catapulting out of nowhere. So of course, for me, that was just how quickly he went from, I love her so much, to, you lied to me. And for a long time, I think I just remembered of like, oh, he's being so dumb. And then when he said, you're just like all the others, I'm like, wait a minute. Is he feeling a different version of betrayed that I'd never really processed until actually hearing that line? It's very possible, because if she's connected to, her stepsisters, which she is, but looking at, she's connected to Anjelica Huston's character, so she's just trying to find her way into becoming rich and powerful.
Yeah, he knows that they're all manipulating him.
Yeah.
He you could see it in every scene that he's in with Marguerite, how he just kind of like rolls his eyes like every time she does something. And I think it's so funny. I like paid like extra attention to him like at that ball when his father, the king, is going to announce whom Henry is going to marry. You could totally tell with just Henry like sitting there just like looking like staring off. I was like, oh yeah, he did agree to marry Marguerite. Look at his face, he looks awful.
So that's perfect, because I was gonna ask you like, okay, there wasn't an official announcement, and so you think just based off of the way his posture was and the way he was looking off, he was gonna announce that he was gonna get married to Marguerite?
Yeah, because what the scene was before, where he was talking with his parents of like, okay, I've made a decision. Fine. And then his posturing. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a look of somebody who's about to marry that bitch.
Which is interesting, because I really thought about it. I'm like, would he if he had said Marguerite? I was under the impression that he was going to lean on duty, and that actually, yours makes more sense though. I thought maybe he's just like, okay, fine, I will marry the person you basically signed me away to, so we can have a treaty between us and Spain. Thanks, Dad. But oh my God, do you think he was trying to, even though he was resigned to it, why would he pick that? You have the answer, don't you?
I don't know.
Well, you're so observant of it. I'm just like, oh, do you know? No, it's okay that you don't know, because I don't know. I didn't even think that.
I think maybe basically I'm just putting my own spin on it. Maybe he wanted someone who could understand him via speaking French. He wouldn't have to go so far. And his mom did say the line, anyone is better than marrying Spain. He's anybody? This bitch who's been shoving her face into me for the past year.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. Not only that, like just sticking her tongue in front of him, like, oh, you want me to eat that? But like a lady.
Been hilarious if he said Jacqueline. Zing!
I think you're right. And then with you're just like all the rest of them, that's when he said, okay, fine, Dad, marry me to Spain. I love that this is not a woman so much as just like, marry me to Spain, we're done. So I do enjoy watching that wedding scene, by the way.
Oh my God, yes. It's hilarious.
And tremendous props to the woman who played the bride. And just, I've cried like that before. And I know crying like that for different reasons. And I'm just like, I have ugly cried that way. Keep going.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Good for you, not trying to keep up appearances. But you're still there. You're still doing what you're supposed to be doing. Clap, 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 clap. Oh. Alrighty. I need to give a couple minutes to praise Anjelica Huston's performance.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it's painful to watch, because it's not just evil, but there is so much evil in there that knows how to, because there's villain evil of I will destroy you, and then you do. This is psychological, like, this, just that line about loving a pebble in your shoe.
I don't think though she got there from being evil the whole time.
Yeah.
Anjelica Huston puts so much into this role. Like, you didn't have to, girl. It's a rom-com, but you showed up. Like, from the very, very beginning, when we meet her, when Danielle's a kid, you can tell sort of, the type of woman that she is for sure. This hoity-toity. You don't know what her backstory is, but definitely when Danielle's father dies, the Baroness is freaking screwed. Like, She just inherited all these more mouths to feed without upward mobility anymore. She was basically, thank God she got married to him because she had children already, which means she was previously married, which means, you know, she's not packing like a dowry or like any sort of like, she was probably turned away so many times. So she probably had to work so hard to woo Danielle's father, and then he just goes up and dies on her.
Yeah.
And so what she says as he's dying is, "Don't leave me here."
Yeah. That scene is heartbreaking for so many different angles. And honestly, I think I remember, like, at a younger age, it's very easy to just go like, oh yeah, of course she would be bitter. As he died, he looked at his daughter and said, "I loved you." And I'm like, I'm wondering if they even said "I love you," you know, because marriage is such a transaction. And they were in, you know, at some point they were probably going to grow into something, an understanding that's beyond that in their relationship. And yeah, that was definitely heartbreaking. And yes, she is not evil, and she's got nuances, and but she's definitely evil.
I do think, though, it really did hurt her when, as Auguste was dying, he just totally like pushed her away and looked only at his daughter. And so she just feels this power of Danielle's. Like, Danielle has all this power right now in this situation, which is why Danielle got reduced to being a servant. Like, she didn't start out as a servant of the household. She became a servant. Technically, like, she is of more noble blood. Her mother is a freaking countess, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, how does it work? I'm not entirely sure, but somehow she had you know, if it's like some version of power, be it like psychological or the fact that she is of, you know, noble, that it's just like, now remember who you are, you know, the scene, it was very, very upsetting to rewatch. The scene where it's off screen, but Danielle is whipped, and you've got her nicer stepsister, you know, just kind of slowly kind of putting water and a washcloth on her or something, some sort of meat, you know, something to, you know, make it a little bit better. And I don't like that her, you know, stepsister said, like, "What were you doing? You brought this on yourself." And I'm like, and then finally there was a nice piece afterwards of like, "No, she shouldn't have said that about your mother." I'm like, yes, let's all, you know, process that. But I'm wondering how much of just having the treatment years and years and years, you just start to believe that is the most that you deserve. But at the same time, it still doesn't break her spirit. I know that's the whole point of Cinderella, the horrible treatment, but it doesn't break her spirit because she fights for everyone of the people that she loves. But when she, you know, starts to do a little bit for herself, then it's finally just like, "What are you doing?" And then the punishment starts. So, well, actually, no, that's not true. She was punished the whole way through, but she was just a little bit able to get away with it better.
Because all she ever wanted was a family. She lost her mother. She never knew her mother. She had her father for, what was she, like 8? Like
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So for around like 8 years, it was just them two, and the servants of the household were like her extended family. She treated them like family also. And then she, as she said, was hoping that this woman would come in and be her new mother, and she would get sisters, and she would have a real family. And I mean, she stayed there doing what she did, working the land, working the house, because it was her house. It's where she grew up. It was her connection to her father. She didn't want to lose it.
Right. And she even said, like, "Oh, okay, well, if the prince is going to marry my stepsister, good. They'll go to the palace. I'll get to be here." Hooray. And I mean,
and she don't need no man.
she really didn't. And that's oh, she didn't. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I miscounted. I thought that she rescued Henry at the end, and then it occurred to me, no, you're right. And I was counting it. No, she rescued herself. She rescued herself when Henry appeared. And I love that the movie just stared right in the face of it. I came to rescue you. I came to apologize. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. And I also want to give Danielle a little bit of extra credit that I would think in a regular set of circumstances where she has been sold to somebody who wants to marry her and she manages to escape and also threaten him, the fact that he didn't have like all of his lackeys come attack her afterwards, she was I'm going to say she was very effective in escaping and making sure that he would never come back. So yay for her.
Yeah, I think she was very upfront with the I will kill you, because like what else is going to happen to me? You know, I don't have anything. You took it all away from me, so come at me, bro.
And I'm going to keep this knife here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, at that point, you just walk away from crazy.
And it's a real testament to the story that so much is happening, so much establishes her character, and a prince is introduced, and it's part of it. But she has other things to deal with as the princess there. It's not just like the prince, and this is what I'm going to be doing. She's like, no. I got to get Maurice from being shipped off to the colonies. I need to figure out what's happening with all of our stolen things. We need to get this to the market. Can we, oh, I guess I could try to see that. Why does he want to talk to me again? Damn it. So.
When he's so irritating.
Oh my god, you find me arrogant. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of fun. I wholeheartedly encourage you to go see it if you haven't. And if you have seen it, watch it again. There's many pieces where it's just like, oh, that feels nice. Okay, yeah. We'll do that. I want to go swim in the water and then freak out because Leonardo da Vinci is walking on water above me.
Da Vinci's so fun in this movie. I know it's like not accurate, but who cares?
It's fun.
It's fun. It's what we're here for.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun. Woo, gotcha. Alrighty. All right, here's the question. You know,
I got it.
Very. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
No.
I'm going to ask it anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. When did they fall in love?
Okay. I tracked their whole timeline here.
Woo! Bring out the diagram.
Okay. So they have their first meeting in the apple, blah, 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 blah. They don't, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So like she's disguised as Nicole. He's impressed, as she quotes Utopia. He's very impressed, like capital impressed. He follows her. Anyone who can quote Thomas More is well worth the effort. But so he's still cocky and intrigued, and she thinks he's arrogant, so classic. And then he starts asking his mom about her, like, do you know this cartoon? And so like the scene after that, she's with getting the honey, the bees, and she goes, that man is insufferable. And the other woman says, you've been saying that all day. So like they're in each other's minds. So much so, Henry even is talking to Da Vinci about like, how do you even know if you found the one? So like, little bee in his bonnet there. Yeah. And then
same bees. Okay.
More of them talking at that scene of like, you're angry with me. Well, you're being a snob. She's opening his eyes more, so they like each other. At this point, they like each other because like they joke and they go ha 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 ha, and then he starts changing his values.
Yes,
because of her.
Father, I want to open a university.
Then he goes and finds out where she lives.
Right.
So when he brings her to the monastery, that's when they are officially flirting. like, get this bitch a library, like, and they touched hands. That's like, that's dating. They touched hands. Ungloved hands means dating, as you know.
Right? Yes.
So basically, she starts to make him, like, doubt himself and, like, all the years he's wasted. He's literally, she has crushed him at this point.
Yeah.
He likes her so much that he hates it for a minute.
Yes.
Oh
my God. Then, I'm reliving it as you tell it.
Right. And then the carriage breaks down, the part of walking. She's up in the tree, right? And he goes, is there anything you can't do? And she goes, fly. That's where he falls in love with her, because who is not falling in love with her when she says that? He has this look on his face before he turns around. He goes, it's like, that's it. I love that one. You know, it's like that of like,
yeah.
Oh, I love that one, you know.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, and then they're doing the rock, paper, scissors revealing truth. And so, like, he says, it is your mouth that has me hypnotized. And then they kiss. I think that she's there's no turning back for her now. She's a little bit more, like, you know, has, like, a wall up.
Yes.
Because she's got her agenda. Yeah. And the secrets.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was about to say, she has much more to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, at that point, like, at the end of the night, as we know, when he's, like, dropping her off and says, you saved my life, at that point, after he's like, getting her off the horse and he knows that point he wants to marry her. Because that's when he says, hey, do you want to come by these ruins tomorrow? Because that's where he's going to propose. So it's like that night, he's like, all right, I'm going to marry her. Like, and then that classic line of, she goes, I shall try. And he goes, then I shall wait all day. And then she's like,
They pulled out of the trailer, too. In fact, there's so much of the trailer, I'm just like, that's in the trailer. That's in the trailer. Oh, yeah, that's in the trailer.
Yeah. So they go through that classic route of, like, you're annoying me. Oh, why are you so arrogant? And then he starts to be like, wait a minute, I am awful. Oh, dear God. And then he goes, hey, you changed me. I'm a changed man. She's like, ooh, I like him. What do I do?
No, that's pretty good. I like it.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, that's a beautiful moment. Fly.
Who's not falling in love with her when she goes, fly? I'm like, I love you. Let's get married right now.
I 100% agree that he was in love with her when he invites her to, what was it, the ruins?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree that's definitely there. I'm curious because he spends a lot of time with her. I'm going to take it just a few seconds afterwards and I think that confused look on his face as she comes up to him and lifts him up. And then when she spins around and then kneels and then goes.
That's when he falls in love? When he's confused?
Yes. No. He's confused as it's happening. But when she spins around and then all the, the people who have, gathered around to, attack and everything like that, when they start laughing, he's like, yeah, no. This is, first of all, here I am afraid for my life, but now this clever and amazing person has made this happen, and I can't let this go. And so then it's just like the whole like talking with the fire and the hands that you talked about with the thingy and with the hands. So I think what's really difficult with her, like you said, her wall is up. And like I was saying before, she's got so much to lose in this whole thing. And if he, if he goes and marries her stepsister, then it can come together. And so it's got to be harder for her. And I think for me, it's gonna be when Leonardo knocks her out of the cellar. Is it the cellar? I don't know if it's a cellar. It's a cage. It's a
it's a cellar where they store all their goods.
Yep. They store all their goods and also hold their, servant daughter prisoner because, she can't go to the ball. She's already done too much. So I think what happens is that when he knocks her out and he says, you have to go. And she says, I can't. I think the nudge of having people on her side, because for her right now, she has her family that she loves and wants to protect, but she has to protect them. And so all she has is her own wits and people to take care of. So when she actually has somebody who is not only like a guest of royalty, but also like an advisor saying like, what's going to happen? I'm the servant daughter of this. He's like, and I'm a bastard son of this. What's the problem? And she's like, what? And so he's able to just piece it together. And when he says, I'm going to give you wings because of the line of, I'm
if I'm not careful, a bird.
If I'm not careful, I'm going to say, if you're a bird, I'm a bird. I'm like, no, that's the wrong movie. Stupid Notebook. I think at that point, she had to have a nudge. I think she thought that maybe she might, but it doesn't matter. And the fact that her godfather of sorts gave her the possibility that it doesn't have to matter. That's when it just kind of opened up.
Yeah, I like what you're saying of like, no, Danielle, you can do something for yourself.
And then Henry had to like squash her right in front of everybody. So
it's okay. They get married off screen.
It's actually kind of nice. I like that you had the wedding that wasn't. And then, you had the bride and the groom run away from each other with their own happy endings and different. So I like they didn't just wedding us again. Instead, it's just like, hey, I don't think you've met my wife.
Bam!
Kaboom! I like it so much. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Oh, such a good movie. So good. They don't make movies like this anymore.
I know. And I like how well received it is too. It's like a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes where everyone's just like, for a Cinderella movie, this has got a lot to work with and it's really enjoyable. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I 100%
agree. Yeah. I would definitely like looking at like all the writers. I'm like, yes, these people write a lot of good movies, Oh, I remembered another Drew Barrymore movie I really like, The Wedding Singer.
Ah, yes. That one's fun.
Yes.
She's so... I love her timid but caring ways in her roles. It works really, really well for her. She's got it down.
She's great. And literally anytime she cries, if she's crying sad, if she's crying happy, I cannot help it. I start crying too.
Did you cry when she was like being kissed and spun because they were going to get married?
I'll always cry with Drew Barrymore.
Oh, this movie has a framing device, and so it will definitely influence what we have to say for this. But
yeah,
the question is, what happens next?
They had a baby.
I mean, framing device fulfilled.
There you go.
They had a baby. How do you think the relationship was between Danielle and her in-laws?
I think it was fun, and I'm sure she disagreed a lot, but was very courteous about it, and used Henry to, not like used him, but like, Henry's so in love with her, he's gonna be like, anything you want, darling, I'll change all the laws for you. He already did it before they were together. Yeah,
he's got a record of that. Not to mention, from the very, very beginning, their relationship was, you just hit the prince in the face with an apple. She knows that she has to go to jail and be sentenced to death. Okay.
Yeah, and then he didn't. He's compassionate. He's not like a icky ruler, He wasn't like the stereotypical, like, I'm a prince. All he wanted was to be free from his gilded cage.
Uh-huh. And then she pointed out, you can do a lot from this cage, right? What? That's actually a really good happily ever after of theirs. I I really do see her having a good positive influence on him. Yeah, I do see there being headbutting with the in-laws scenario, and she's smart enough to know how things are supposed to go, so she's just like, Henry.
Yeah, I don't think she's getting her head chopped off or anything.
No, although that could be quite easily done, but he strikes me as so smitten with her that I don't think he'd get that easily distracted by, 6 other wives.
Yeah. I think the people would love her too. Maybe not so the rich people. This reminds me a lot of actually the show The Great.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've watched it, but I mean, Catherine in that, I mean, it's fictionalized. Mm-hmm, Catherine the Great. She wanted to, make Russia the new and modern, and all the rich people were like, no, I like being rich and having, servants. What is school for women? Plot points from the show.
Why do we need change? Things are great.
Yeah,
what are you
exactly.
Doing?
The rich people hate change. So that's why I was like, maybe the people love her. Some of the people may have loved her.
Yeah, the people who were getting positive change in their lives, and now just like, wait, where'd my money go?
Yeah,
come back. Yeah, so just one kid. They have to have at least the one for the framing.
But they were what religion? No. They have to have more than one because the infant mortality rate was probably very low at the time.
I'm gonna say 4.
I'd say, yeah, roughly.
4. And because that's just how this works in these kind of movies, you have, her sister's gonna marry. Was he the captain of the guards?
I can assume so.
Yeah. They were so cute. I love the way that they were very much on board of just like, tell no one anyone you saw that this is what happened. All right.
Yeah.
No, we can help. This is good. That's the beginning of a better opportunity for them to become closer sisters.
Yes.
And then she's got family. I'm also going to say that she spends long periods of time at the old manor because that's where her other family lives. She's going to let them have the home.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to come there. She's going to make sure that it's in good shape and
make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
As they took care of her whole life.
Yeah. And maybe even bring in some extra people so that way things can move along without, such panic.
Yeah, Maurice retires.
Yeah. Oh, he's earned it. I mean, it's hard work being a scapegoat. So that's as much as I have for their future.
Yes, we know that they have great grandchildren. I forget what she said. My great grandmother. Was it 2 greats? 3 greats? I don't know. Yeah, their story lived on. I think, and then as they said at the end of the movie, but what's most important was that they actually lived.
That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good story. I think the most important part is that we know the story now.
Yay! So cute.
It is cute. It was enjoyable. Thanks for talking about it with me.
Yeah, anytime. Like an excuse to watch, like you were saying, just like a good happy movie to just forget the horrors of the world.
I encourage everyone to make sure you do something nice for yourself when you're listening to this, mm-hmm. or a little bit after when you're listening to this. Go be nice to yourself.
You deserve it.
Alrighty, Justine.
Yes.
You have other podcasts and other projects. Specifically, I'm thinking of one, but why don't you tell everyone about all of them?
Oh my gosh, yes. I host a podcast called Pod Appetit Gourmet Takes. I've got many a co-host on there from all over this country and world. We talk about food shows and cooking and what we're eating, and And I've pretty much like learned how to cook via doing this podcast. It's great. Food is one of my big hobbies now. I just dropped a lot of money buying some more cookbooks that I'm like, ooh, I want to eat this, I want to eat that. So if you want to hear me talk about all the things that I want to eat, go over to Pod Appetit, and I post pretty pictures on pod_appetit so you can see the things that I make. So yum, 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 yum. That's my pitch for the podcast. And then oftentimes we will interview chefs that you may know via our Reddit talks, which do go in our feed as well. We have recently interviewed Rick Martinez, J. Kenji Lopez-All, Jesse Sheehan, Frankie Gaw, Aaron Gleason. I'm like, oh my god, I feel so blessed.
If you watch their shows and then podcast about them, they will come. Yeah, I just listened to the Aaron Gibson one. It's so great, just, talking about it, listening to you make it, and just, you said you just dropped a whole bunch of money for it. Yeah, but we get to reap the benefits of hearing about it.
It's true. You guys live vicariously through me, like, exploring yummy foods. But even, like, yeah, make something yourself. I'm always down to talk about food.
Definitely check it out. And so if you want to talk to us about Ever After or any of the movies we've talked about, Justine, this may be your 5th appearance on the podcast now? Ooh, 5 Timers Club. Congratulations.
Thank you. Do I get an award? Is it in the mail?
Let me give you one of those reaction emoji thingies in Zoom.
Oh,
okay, there you
yes.
go. Yay!
It's a heart for those who cannot see.
Yes. Oh, in fact, if you want to congratulate her, hit us up on Twitter and Instagram, and we're at HEAMCast. That's HEAMCAST. And we're on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath. And for your longer form thoughts, we always can get an email at contact@heamcast.com. This feels good. Thank you so much again for talking about Ever After.
Always. I'll always talk about movies with you, Diana. Forever and ever and ever. Till we have our own Happily Ever After.
Yay! Oh, and then do we get a framing device?
It's the podcast. The podcast is the framing device.
Ah, okay. Well then it is incredibly on point that I say, until next time, may your aftermath be happy.